Receiving an inheritance or a cash gift from a family member can be a beautiful blessing on your financial journey. Also, this new experience can leave you wondering about the best way to use the money. Brian, a listener of the Marriage, Kids, and Money podcast, is wondering the same thing right now. I have a question regarding a gift I received from my grandmother. Your story about your mother-in-law's $30,000 inheritance and setting aside for future back-to-school shopping to keep her memory alive was cool. I was thinking about opening accounts with Vanguard to start investment portfolios for each of my 3 kids. Would it make more sense to open an IRA for their future retirements or just a brokerage account that they can each have as a nest egg? My kids are 13, 11, and 6. My hope was to start an account now, so when they start working and earning, they can invest in their own accounts. Brian, thank you so much for reaching out. This is actually one of my favorite topics, so I am so glad you asked this question. It sounds like your grandma is an incredibly kind and generous woman. What a beautiful legacy she's leaving to you and your kids. For those that don't know our situation with the inheritance you mentioned, I thought I'd share that story first and then answer your question second. By the way, if you like what you hear today, please consider giving me the YouTube triple thanks. That's hitting the like button, subscribing to the channel, and then commenting down below. That'll help, as YouTube will know that you want to see more content like this in the future. Thanks. Okay, so here's our family's experience with losing a family member and gaining a small inheritance. In 2019, my mother-in-law was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer. She was in her early 70s, so this was unexpected and quite devastating to all of us because Hana was a big part of our lives. Hana was the kind of person that brought the entire family together. Big Chaldean dinners with her family, our family, and loads of cousins. This wasn't something I had when I was a kid, so having my kids grow up with dozens of cousins, aunts, and uncles near home is a special thing for us. She also just loved being a grandma and spending time with our children. One of her favorite things to do was to give generous gifts. When it was back to school time, she wanted to be the one to take our kids clothes shopping so they had nice outfits on their first day of school. That made her feel happy. Unfortunately, just a few short months after her cancer diagnosis, she passed away. The whole family, we were crushed. Hana was a big part of our lives, and it just hasn't been the same without her. To help keep her memory alive, Nicole and I decided to use that $30,000 of inheritance and invest it. That way, we could use the dividends to support activities that Hana loved. So in the fall, we used the dividends to pay for back-to-school shopping for our kids. And in the winter, we like to pay for a big family dinner where everyone gets back together, just like Hana would do. By doing this, we feel like we're honoring her legacy of family, generosity, and love. So, how did we invest the $30,000 of inheritance? Well, for starters, this isn't advice on how you should do it because past results don't predict future results and all that red tape stuff. But aside from all that, here's what we did. Oh, and Brian, I believe this process will help answer your question too. Number 1, understand the impact of gift, estate, and inheritance taxes. In our state of Michigan, there were no estate and inheritance taxes that we had to deal with. It's actually a perk of living in this great state. But surprisingly, this is quite common around our country. According to AARP, there are only 11 states that have an estate tax. Connecticut, Hawaii, Illinois, Maine, Massachusetts, Minnesota, New York, Oregon, Rhode Island, Vermont, and Washington. Oh, and Washington, D.C. as well. So if you don't live in one of these states, it sounds like you're golden. If you do, meet with an estate tax professional to help you better understand your situation. In your case, Brian, if your grandma wants to give cash gifts while she's still alive, a tax-free giving method to consider is the annual gift tax exclusion. In 2022, the exclusion limit is $16,000 per person. So if grandma wants to give more than $16,000, consider having grandma give increments of $16,000 to you, your spouse, and each of your kids to avoid any tax issues. Number 2, pick a low-cost brokerage partner. We went with Vanguard for our investment partner because we had been working with them already and all of our accounts were there. I knew the interface really well and understood how to keep the process simple. If you don't already have a brokerage partner you like, consider Vanguard, Fidelity, or Schwab. They are keeping the process simple, low cost, and their apps are all really intuitive. Even Vanguard's app is pretty good now. I didn't say that a few months ago, but they recently made an update and it's slick. Brian, if you want some support with the entire process, I'd suggest meeting with a fee-only financial planner that is a sworn fiduciary. A great resource for this is XY Planning Network. This is a network for fee-only certified financial planners that I recommend. Number 3, decide how you want to invest the money. We decided to invest the money in a taxable brokerage account in Nicole's name. That way we could use the money for the purposes I already mentioned. To create some semi-consistent annual income with the investment, we decided to invest in Vanguard's High Dividend Yield Index Fund with ticker symbol VHYAX. This fund invests in larger companies like Chase, Johnson & Johnson, and Home Depot, and it provides a nice dividend. And our plan has worked pretty well over the past 2 years. Not only has the dividend been able to provide us with about $300 to $500 per quarter, but the overall account balance has grown as well. The balance has grown from around $30,000 to now around $40,000 in about 2 years. The market has been really good to the Grandma Hana Fund. In your situation, Brian, I'd suggest you think about your goals for the money. Do you want them to get a leg up on retirement so time and compound interest can really do their magic? Well, I'd suggest a Roth IRA for that, but your kids need to have earned income to contribute there. If they don't have earned income, but you want to start them with investing, check out a kids brokerage account or a UTMA. Vanguard can definitely help you with this. I have one for each of our kids with Vanguard. For a company that's making the UTMA process a little easier than Vanguard, I'd suggest UNest. They have over 400,000 happy parents and kids using their app, and UNest investments end up investing in Vanguard products anyway, so you know they're low cost and efficient. I'll put both Vanguard and UNest's links in the description below. Our kids' UTMA accounts don't have a lot in there right now, but it helps me to have conversations with my kids about the importance and the impact investing can have over the long term. As far as what we're going to do with that money, well, I have a few thoughts, but it hasn't been solidified yet. At 16 years old, this money could be used for their first cars. At 20 years old, this money could be used for maybe a study abroad or like a European backpacking trip. At 25 years old, it could be the down payment for their first home. I actually like that one the most. But at 30 years old, it could be money for their wedding celebration. Again, I'm not sure right now, but I like the idea of defining the use. Otherwise, you just lose interest in investing. Like, investing for what? What am I investing for? Investing for the crazy costs of college is also not a bad idea to consider as well, Brian. Using a 529 college savings account makes this process simple. Number 4, stay consistent with your investment decision. However you choose to use the money, I'd recommend sticking with it for the long term. Investing sees its major benefits when you let time and compound interest do their magic. So if your 13-year-old does have earned income and you want them to start investing for their retirement, get that Roth IRA opened. Invest and encourage your child that this money is for their retirement 50 years from now and nothing else. The same goes for the 529 college savings account. We're using this for college and that's it. Invest with a purpose and stick to it. We're doing the same for our Grandma Hana Fund money as well. That way, it's always there and her awesome traditions live on. Number 5, throw more wood on the fire. If you like the plans and traditions you've set up with your inherited or gifted investments, add more money to them when it becomes available. The more contributions you add, the larger your accounts can grow and help you achieve your goals faster. There was a point in time during the pandemic when the market was doing really well and we didn't need any back to school clothes because our kids were in their pajamas all the time at home. We took some of those dividends and just reinvested them to grow the account further. Perhaps a portion of your kids' earnings in the future goes into these investment accounts as well. That way, the accounts grow and their investment knowledge grows too. I'm sure that would make Grandma really proud, Brian. Well, those are my ideas, everyone. I hope they help you as you decide how you want to use this new money. Grandma sounds like an awesome lady, Brian. One more piece of advice. Create some memories with Grandma and your kids with some of that money while she's still with you. Those memories will be more precious than any money that she gives you. That's how I feel about my mother-in-law, Hannah. We love her gift that she gave us, but we loved her even more. Well, enough from me, everyone. I want to hear from you. What would you do with a $30,000 inheritance? In what ways would you honor their legacy? Please let me know in the comments below. This is Andy Hill from Marriage, Kids, and Money, signing off. Carpe diem.